My name is Fernando Alvares. I have a degree in international trade and I am one of the partners of the Dreams Constancy, and I would like to speak to you personally about the environment in the Mexican market and propose an offer. My team and I have studied about your franchise and we are very interested in them entering the Mexican market because we know that they will be a great success. Your franchise will develop very well in the Mexican market, since they represent a large part of the Mexican economy, in addition to selling products such as ice cream, which are widely consumed in the country. Being a foreign brand and that is in fashion, their sales will be very high. They will also be a great employment option for young students. As their products are not only sold in their stores, but they have a series of products that are sold in supermarkets, people will need to acquire a license to be able to sell their products, so their brand will be safe among the partners. In addition to they must respect and work under your request standards. Direct investments works in a very simple way. You need first to register your company in the National Registry of Foreign Investments. Once you are registered, you must go through the required process. After this, the company will be verified to see if it is accepted or not. Once the investment, we only need to comply with the rules and regulations. Taking advantage of the tax entities could be the option of creating a foundation or campaign to support a case, which will also give a better image for the company. At the beginning of the year, the peso had been very low compared to the dollar, but currently it has remained stable, having a difference of $1 equal 20 pesos. Mexicans are hardworking people, and based on the fact that most of the employees will be young people, will elaborated training process will have to be created so that they can perform their jobs in the best way despite the possible lack of experience. Currently, the minimum wage in Mexico is 123 pesos per day. Mexicans are great workers since we usually follow orders and instruction well, so offering a good salary and some benefits, the workers will do a great job. Complying with fiscal and environmental regulations is a fairly simple matter in the case of your company. It's only enough that the products are not harmful to health and truthful information is given about what they are made. In addition to that, the establishments comply with the health standards. Trade between Mexico and the United States is based on the NAFTA agreement, so the issue of tariff, quotas, etc. will not be that high, but there will be a cost to consider, so perhaps invest in a factory in the country could be a good investment. Yes, enter in the Mexican market is a great growth opportunity for your franchise because it has very popular idea in our country. A catalog of products that are quite attractive for the current market and successful entry into the market almost guaranteed with the reputation they have in the company. Social networks, fashions have a lot to do with the Mexican market. If you allow me, I would advise you that to enter the market, you should wait until mid of the next year to see how the problem of the pandemic continues and not to make a hasty incursion and start in a full quarantine. In this way, they will have more time to plan their entry to the market and avoid risk on sales. Firstly, I mentioned that I would like to participate in as a franchise partner through the license, but as I also mentioned, I have several places around the country, so I would like to reach an agreement on the percentages of the license or some participation in the company. In this way, to offer them advertisings and presence in my places which will help reduce entry costs and have a greater presence in the market. They should take into account two options. The first option will be to open in a border city such as Tijuana, since they are quite traveler city and because of their proximity to the United States, they are probably very known. The second option is to go directly to the largest and busiest cities such as CDMX or Guadalajara. They are cities with the largest squares which have a lot of recurrence as much as the inhabitants of their cities as those of their cities, and with the offer before giving the entry in these squares is something safe. I am informed that your idea is to sell the license so that it is distributed more quickly. In addition to that, they will have some one establishments within the country and they have the products that will be sold in supermarkets and mini supers, which in my opinion is the correct way to enter the market, at least the first year. I would just like to repeat the idea of creating my own factory for the country to reduce costs with export issues, tariff, vehicles, etc. The subject of alliances I already let you know, and an alliance with me will be your best option as it will provide you with many facilities to enter the Mexican market both in infrastructure, capital and marketing. Entering the Mexican market is a good option for a company, since labor is cheap, it is easy to register the company, and there is a lot of demand. So, it is a great opportunity for your company because by expanding its growth in the form of a franchise, it will be the faster and the more successful you are, which in your case is almost certain. From what you can see, this will bring many benefits to your company. So that's all for my part. I hope you liked the analysis and we await your response. Ice Cream Frost House. Hi, my name is Fernando Alvares. I have a degree in international trade and I am one of the partners of the Dreams Consultancy. And I would like to speak to you personally about the US market and the potential that your company has to enter it. My team has observed the great success that you are having in the state of Sinaloa and how thanks to the constant support of YouTuber Marquitos Toys and their great quality, they have become very famous throughout the country. So I will explain how it is handled below the US market and how you should enter. The purchasing power of the United States is huge, being the country with the largest economy in the world, in addition to having a large population that usually consumes a variety of foreign foods. To establish your business in the United States and not have problems in legal matters, it is recommended that you have a true accounting record to demonstrate that your company is not a fraud and that is economically convenient for the country. You must also comply with all the rules of health as there is quite important issue. So basically, as long as no rule or law is inflicted and it's proven the company is not fraud, they will not present any problem. Restaurants are a great source of income for the American economy, as there are dozens and thousands of restaurants and franchises throughout the country. It is well known that Americans and more in large cities tend to prefer to eat in restaurants than in their own homes. Taking into account the fame that Ranch Roll has, the income will be somewhat certain. When you enter to the US market, you will provide jobs and wages which will be indirect contributions to the economy. Each state in the United States is governed by its own law, which is something to take into account when it's choosing a destination. Given that the success of the company increases thanks to the advertising of a YouTuber, the smart thing will be to able to choose a state where Mexicans live, which are California and Texas. We believe The Texas legal system is less hassle. The dollar is one of the strongest currencies in the world and without a doubt could be considered as the international currency since most of the countries use the dollar as their currency when trading. $1 is currently worth like 20 pesos, Mexican pesos. Although it is true that the most of Americans could be considered quiet patriots, we can say that the United States is the country with the most cultural variety there is, since we can find people of all races and countries living having an incredible mix of cultures. Being a country with such diversity and being an area with a high index of Latinos, we can expect that the company will have a very good acceptance. Complying with tax regulation is essential if you seek to enter this market, as you could get into the legal problems if you do not, so we recommend that you always pay your taxes and maintain total transparency with your finance statements to avoid any type of problem. The minimum wage in the United States is $7.55 per hour. Trade between Mexico and the United States is based on the NAFTA agreement. As the Ranch Roll Company is a restaurant chain, they will not depend on tariffs, fees, and that type of tax. However, it does require a large initial investment because it will be necessary to get a place, furniture, etc. Yes, since it is a great opportunity for you as a restaurant chain if you have the necessary capital to make the initial investment. It will be an investment that will be quickly recovered. If it is true that in Texas the issue of restaurants and bars have already stabilized a bit with the issue of the pandemic, we recommended waiting until the middle of the next year because at this time it will be determined whether it will be another year of confinement or not. It is something very important to take into account because it could be resounding failure if they open and we enter the confinement phase again. As mentioned above, the states of Texas and California are the best options to enter the market, since they are the areas closest to Mexico and with more visitors and inhabitants of the country. We believe that Texas is a better option because, in addition to being easier when entering for the legal issues, there is a great concentration of Mexican culture in the state that will be the main market to attack. Without a doubt, the best way in which they could enter the market is by opening a single branch, which will be greatly promoted by social networks with the help of YouTubers Marquitos Toys and Chiquetes Toys. In this way, they will take a lot about the restaurants and not only Hispanic families, but everyone will know about the new Rancho restaurant. While it is true that you operated like a family-run restaurant chain after you enter the US market and need to expand, perhaps becoming a franchise and selling your license could become a good option to grow further in this market. The US market is a huge and represents a great growth opportunity for companies that enter it, so we believe Ranch Roll is a company with capital and structure good enough to not only enter its market, but also we have a great success. We must also emphasize the great advantage that it will bring them such as increased income, international recognition, income in dollars, less dependence on the Mexican market. So that's all for my part. I hope you liked the analysis and we await your response, Rancho.